This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this day, September the 14th, in the year 1968, or in layman's terms, 55 years ago to the day, Denny McLain picked up his 30th win as the Detroit Tigers won in the bottom of the ninth to take down the Oakland A's 5-4. May seem like a boring thing. Be like, did the Tigers clinch the pennant on the day? Like, a playoff spot? No, they didn't. The Tigers, with that win, got to be 95-54, so they still had 13 games left. The season, Oakland dropped to 76-74. Now, 1968 was a changing time. The A's, this is their first season since moving from Kansas City. And then, of course, they were Philadelphia first, then Kansas City, then Detroit. Then Oakland. Detroit went through a lot in 1968. Not just with their baseball team, but in their city. Riots would be the word of the day for 1967 and 1968. Fortunately, some of the Tigers' key members who were black spoke to the black community and quashed some of the riots. Not all, but some. Anyway, Denny McLain was this rotund pitcher who was looking good. At 29-5, he would be ready to go. His opposite number was Chuck Dobson. The A's brought Bert Campaneris at shortstop, Rick Monday, yes, that Rick Monday at center field, Danny Keeter first base, Sal Bando, before he became a Brew Crew member, third base, Reggie Jackson in right, Dick Green at second, Joe Q left field, and Dave Duncan caught for Chuck Dobson to pitch. Of course, this was the era without the DH. The Tigers had Dick McAuliffe at second, Mickey Stanley at center, Jim Northrup at right, Willie Horton left field, Norm Cash to first, Bill Freehand catching, Tommy Matchek short, Don Ward at third, and Danny McLain to pitch. So it was an exciting time for McLain. Unfortunately, though, he gave up a 2-run shot to Reggie Jackson. Well, Reggie is a home run hitter. And this was 3 years before his famous shot off the transformer in the light tower. However, the Tigers came back to score 3 runs on a home run by Norm Cash, scoring him, Northrup, and Horton. So Cash made it 3-2 and chased Dobson from the game for Jack Acker, but then Acker was replaced by Paul Lindblad after 2 batters. Unfortunately, Campaneris hit an RBI single to make it 3-3 in the 5th, and then a home run by Reggie in the 6th made it 4-3 Oakland. Now you'd be thinking, well, Danny McLain's definitely going to come out of the game, because guess what? It's 4-3. But of course, back in 1968, you had pitchers basically go the distance a whole lot more than nowadays. So the A's were up 4-3, and Diego Segui was still pitching. The guy freaking came into the game in the 4th inning, and he was going through 4 innings of relief, probably because the A's bullpen was tiring. After McLain got the A's 1-2-3 on Bando, Jackson, and Dick Green, then it was on after the night. Al Kaline would come into the game. Finally, like Tiger legend, he would pinch hit for Danny McLain, took a walk, and then Dick McAuliffe popped out. Mickey Stanley singled, Mickey Kaline go to third, so first and third with 1 out. Then Jim Northrup hit a fielder's choice. And then when they tried to throw the ball home to get Kaline, they botched it. Mickey Stanley went to third base, and with 1 out, Willie Horton drove a single to left field, scoring Stanley, and the Tigers won 5-4. And guess what? That means Danny McLain won number 30. What a moment for Danny McLain. Now you're thinking, okay, he won his 30th game. Why is that significant? Because no pitcher ever has hit the 30-win mark in one season after McLain. neither in the National League or the American League. Hard to believe that 30 wins was a magical time. The closest, I believe, was Bob Welsh with 27 back in 1990 for the A's. But, I mean, 30 wins is huge. I mean, teams go with a 5-man rotation, you're going to get 32 starts, 32 or 33 starts. Now that you have to be nearly flawless, though, too, in a 5-man rotation. Even in a 4-man rotation, you get 40 starts, which is unusual for pitchers nowadays. You would have to win 30 of them. You would have to go at least a 750 clip at worst with winning games. Yeah, there's been winning streaks like Roger Clemens is back in the mid-90s, but imagine all those pitchers looking for win number 30 and not getting it. But yeah, Denny McLain was the last player to get 30 wins in a season. And that's hard-pressed. You won't see that every day. You rarely see a pitcher win 20 games in a season. Because a few years ago, it was the first time in a while that we didn't have a 20-game winner. And no, it's not 20. No, I'm not talking about 2020. I'm talking about like 2016, 17, I think. But anyway, yeah. It's hard to do 20 wins, much less 30. But Denny McLain will always be in the record books, even though that he had some shady pasts, especially being in prison all this time. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.